Hello, everyone. I'm just seeing a little circle going around my Zoom right now. Hopefully you can hear us. Let's check our live feed. Okay, I can see myself on the live feed, so I'm just going to start talking now. Okay. There we go. So welcome. Chris, let me see if I can bring you into our Zoom right now. Can you?
I'm here. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can't see you. And it's saying, sorry, we're having trouble playing this video on my end. There you are. I can see you on Facebook, so I'm just going to keep talking. So, okay, so welcome to the 5 o'clock club for the Rittenhouse Square Fine Art Show. Everyone, we have, today we have our student artist from our virtual June 2021 show. But first of all, I would really appreciate, or I would really like to say how much we appreciate all of you who tuned in to our virtual show. We just are completely overwhelmed by your response. We, between attending our Facebook Live demos, watching our Instagram interviews, and also shopping our online gallery, it just was really wonderful, and we just feel blessed that you hung in there with us for one more year. But the good news is, you want to tell them the good news, Chris?
Well, I guess you could say all lousy thing must come to an end, because we're going live, real live, like in person live.
Yes.
For September. That's the good news.
Yes, that is the good news. So so the best part is that we will adjust as the city adjusts with us, and we'll just keep moving forward. Hopefully everything will be at full capacity and our artists will come back in full strength, and we are just hoping that everyone will come back at full strength. So for right now, I really, I'm going to jump into the interviews. So folks, what we did was, it's in June of, or in the whole year of 2020, when we did our virtual shows, we were so overwhelmed with just trying to get an online gallery up and dealing with our professional artists. We could not accommodate any student artists. So this time, we said for the June 2021 show, we made it our mission to somehow incorporate students into our show, because that was the origin of our show. It was student artists 94 years ago, stringing clothesline up and having a clothesline exhibit. So we're going back to our roots, and we just tried to make it happen. So we were given a very tight timeline, folks. And we put the word out to the art schools within the city that we usually deal with, but because it was a virtual show, we felt we could reach a little bit further instead of having these students be physically at our show. So as a result, we were able to incorporate 8 students into our virtual show, spanning from all the way up in Maine, in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and then a range of our wonderful city art schools in the Philadelphia region. We had some students who did our physical show in 2019, and then ended up graduating during that pandemic year, 2020. And then we have some recent graduates here, and it's just going to be a really great interview. So I am going to conduct the first interview, and I'm going to bring Alyssa on. Let me get her situated. I'm going to ask you to unmute, Alyssa. And I'm going to turn your video on. And then Chris, I'm going to turn your video off. All right. So let's see, Alyssa, whenever you start talking, you'll appear on the screen, okay? So I'm just gonna jump right into it because we have 5 students here today and we're just going to, get right into it. So Alyssa, welcome. And I'm just really thrilled that you and all of our other students were able to, in the very short turnaround, send everything in a timely manner. And I've relayed that with your professors and advice. Like, it was just like really wonderful for you guys to do that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, where were you born and raised, and where do you currently go to art school?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in New Jersey. I still that's where I am right now. And I go to art school. I attend Studio and Caminati in Philadelphia. It's at the Bach Building at 9th and Mifflin. Yeah.
Yeah. So they didn't they recently they relocated during the pandemic year, correct?
Yeah. So we were actually, the school was looking for a new location, new buildings to relocate at. We were at 12th and Callowhill, closer to Center City before. And we actually, we were touring places, right? It was right before the pandemic. No masks were required. Like, it was before that. So we were touring places and we toured the Bach Building, and then they decided it, and then everything shut down, and we moved out of the Wolf Building 10 times faster than we were going to.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so are you focusing on one medium at Incaminati? And if so, what do you really like about that medium?
Yeah, like, the school is really geared towards oil painting, and in the first level or two, they have charcoal classes and pencil classes, but the main purpose of those in the curriculum is geared towards preparing you ultimately for painting. So I would say that my medium is oil paint right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you like about oil painting?
I like it because it's very, like, it has a fluidity about it, about just like kind of, like mixing colors on it's because it's very, like, a very flexible, forgiving medium, which I feel like my first impression of it, I wouldn't have thought it was very forgiving.
Yes.
But something to like watercolors, so like, because if you do something wrong in watercolor, it stains the paper. It's going to be
Exactly
fine.
So did you always know that you wanted to go to art school, or was it something that kind of came later?
I've taken like art classes since I was younger, like 9 or 10 years old, and I had really sought those out. Like, I kind of it was kind of like I was always interested in drawing and like doing artistic things, and there was one time I drew something, it's like a picture of a horse or something, and when my mom saw it, that's when she started seeking out, oh, like, we've got to get her into classes or something.
Yes.
It was kind of more passive, especially because I was only 10. So, but when I was like high school, the person I was taking classes with, her name is Rebecca Tate, and she was involved in Caminati. She's still involved there, and that's how I heard about that school. And I knew that I wanted to continue that, like, my realism training, because I wasn't quite there yet, to kind of break free from it, and like, you have to learn the rules before you break them, that kind of mentality.
I believe in that. Not everyone's philosophy, but so were you in person for classes during the during the shutdown, or when? Yeah.
We started back in person this year, last semester.
Okay.
But last year we were not. I'm pretty sure not at all up until the freshman year.
So how did classes go on a virtual level? Did you have models? Did you have assignments?
Yeah, I mean, it was really interesting because also the school is very pushes like life drawing and doing things from life all the time. Then
Yes, it's a realist figurative school. Yes.
and yeah, I mean, we did a lot of self-portraits, was a lot of things, because that was the best like happy medium if you had to do it. Oh, and we would like use online platforms to get feedback and critiques, but it would be a lot of self-portraits, and then when that
okay.
then they would have some pictures.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about like, do you have a current theme you're working with, or a personal thing that is special to your work?
I with a lot of, at least like right now, I think anything that I'm working on, especially I'm working on painting a thesis for school, and I want like each piece, my goal is to like, whether you know the person that's in the painting or not, or even if it's like a landscape, not that I'm doing a landscape, but my goal is to just have that viewer just feel something, or have some sort of empathetic feeling towards the subject in some way. Like that's
Yeah.
big, but that's like the goal, I guess.
No, it's great. So if you can zoom in on any special piece of artwork, and while you're zooming in, can you talk about how people can find you, maybe on social media, or if you have a website?
Yes, I have an Instagram for my handle is Alyssa, it's all lowercase, Alyssa Rose _P.
Okay.
Instagram, and I do have a website. It's a bit longer of a it's alyssaproli.wixsite.com.
Wixsite / Alyssa Rose Art.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll try to put some of those up in our, I can't really type in our comments, but it's showing up in closed captioning. So you can write, if you want to write it backwards and hold it up at the very end, we can all do that. So let's see. And then how did you like participating in our virtual show? Was it kind of anticlimactic, or what did you think of that?
I mean, I'm glad that I did it. Like, I mean, it was like a last minute decision to do it, but
Okay.
I did do the show 1 year in person, and I really liked that, but also it was kind of more convenient. I mean, I hate to say it because it's nice to do it in person, but
yeah,
it was convenient. Like, it was a lot less. You didn't have to bring drive over with a tent and everything. And
okay. I know. Well, consider doing it in September. Those applications will be up. Well, Alyssa, thank you. We're gonna jump in and bring Mike and Chris back, but we'll see. Stay tuned and pop in at the end. Okay, Alyssa, thank you. Let's see. Chris, I'm unmuting you. Starting your video. Mike, starting your video. I'm going to turn.
Great.
I'm going to turn my video. No, can I turn my video off? I don't know. I'll try it. I'm going to turn my video off. All right, you guys, go ahead.
All right. Michael Newman, how are you, my friend?
Good, Chris. How are you?
I am very good. It is a pleasure to speak with you today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yes, yes, and thank you for being part of the show, like Kerry had said. So I was lucky to have a little time today to watch some of your interview you did with Amy, which was also very enjoyable. And I want to hear from you. You have a very interesting story over the past, say, year and a half, 2 years.
Oh yeah.
You had a change. You had a change go on. So let's hear about what brought you to where you are today and how you got
Sure.
there.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because it had been kind of brewing for a while before everything happened with the pandemic starting in March of 2020. I had been working full-time as a barber here in the city for a while, and I knew that I wanted to get more serious about my artwork, and so I started cutting my work schedule shorter for about a year or two before 2020. And then over the winter, 2019 into 2020, I was taking some classes at Fleischer, and it's sort of to build for me that I was thinking about going back to school, and I wanted to take even more time off from work and put more time into my painting. And so then literally, like right when my barbershop was shut down for the pandemic, I was sending my application into studio in Caminati and doing my interview over the phone. So it had been building, but it was kind of a happy accident because being shut down really confirmed for me all that time off that this is what I really want to be doing.
This is what you were doing. You know what? Sometimes life is fortuitous on the timing of certain events. So where are you from originally? Are you from the Philadelphia area, or are you from outside of Philly?
I'm from outside of Philly. I'm from Chesapeake, Virginia. It's right near Virginia Beach, right near North Carolina.
Okay.
I have some family connections to Philly, though. My parents lived in Philly for a period of time, so
Oh,
I
right on.
decided to move up here.
So now you're like you said, you're at Caminati now. Tell me a little bit about the school for people that don't know what Incaminati does. We know, we were talking about how it kind of has a realism approach to painting. Is that what excited you about Incaminati in particular?
Yes, the school is based in contemporary realism, and the school is set up in a way that it's similar to, I describe it as if you were going to do an apprenticeship for painting. You're working every day. You're watching demos. It's not like a typical college where, you're sitting through lectures and that type of thing. I mean, you're working every day. And for me, I wanted to go to this school because I wanted that foundation. I feel like for me, contemporary realism, learning it will allow me to do other things. I don't know for sure if my art practice will continue with sort of straight contemporary realism after I graduate, but I feel like I'm building a good foundation.
Absolutely. I'm going to agree with Kerry, and personally, most of the work I do is abstracted work at this point, but I think you have to have a basis of realism before you can learn how to abstract anything. So
Right, exactly.
I'm part of that school too, Kerry. So there's not a lot of us that I think believe that. So this interest in art, is this a lifelong interest?
Yeah, it has been. I, of course, like every child, I was coloring and painting when I was little. And then my mom actually considered becoming a graphic designer when I was very young. She was having a career change. And so I actually went with her to some of her classes. And like the teacher would give me like a little assignment, the little kid could do. But I had this mentality that I wouldn't be able to make a living as an artist. And so for some reason I chose acting, which seemed to make more sense.
Well, of course, because, who doesn't struggle? Well, actors don't struggle ever. So that's a good idea.
Right, exactly, yeah. So art has been always been there for me though.
Right. That's awesome. That, well, you know what? And you were still, listen, you can say between acting, working in a barbershop, you have been in the arts. Everything you've done has been a creative enterprise. So you've never left that idea of something creative.
It's very true.
Now, when within Caminati, Do you guys have a choice, acrylic, oils, or do they want you to work in a specific paint? Are there steps on how they want you to paint, or you have a medium choice that you can work in?
Yeah, there's sort of steps that you go through. The classes are sort of finite, so to speak. Like every day you take, like all level 1 students, you take the same class, you progress through the program together. There isn't like electives or options of classes to take. It's a very specific track. And like Alyssa was saying, we start in charcoal and graphite. At the end of the first year, we're starting to get a little bit into oil paint, but you don't have a choice in the medium ultimately, but I think we all practice outside of school, which is fine. In
Right,
other
no,
mediums.
absolutely. Now, you know, this year, having that pandemic year, having this time, would you say it was a huge plus for you then to have possibly more free time than you might have had? Did you like having that extra time of kind of not isolation, but that extra time to create? Was that a benefit to you, would you say?
Yeah, it was definitely a benefit to me. I wouldn't mind having it back. I'm actually a bit of an introvert, so I liked being isolated. But in all seriousness, yeah, it was really beneficial for me. And again, it really confirmed that this is really the path that I want to be on. So I'm really trying to give it my all.
Now, is that your work we're looking at behind you?
Yeah, these are mine. These two I did sort of like on my own. This is was in our Grisaille class, and I just decided to keep that.
Yeah, no, I listen, I love the foundation. I think like I said, I think it's really an important step for artists to learn. Now, do you have a website or
I do.
Instagram?
Yeah, my website is MikeKNewman.com, and my Instagram is the same, Mike K. Newman, MikeNewman.
And did you enjoy the virtual show?
I did. I mean, in all honesty, I wish it could have been in person to get the social aspect in, and have friends come over, but also meet new people. But the show must go on in a way, and I'm happy to be part of it. And like Alyssa was saying, it was just real easy to do. So yeah.
And it's and you'll learn, and Kerry would tell you the same thing. You have to really adapt after 30 plus years of selling work. It's amazing how you're constantly given curveballs to kind of adjust your work, your way of thinking on how to get your work into public. So any little change kind of goes into your back pocket as something you can always remember that it's there. So it was kind of not exciting, but something we went through. We were successful and positive through it, and we move forward. And are you planning on doing the live show in September? That's the most important question.
I don't know if I'm going to do the live show in September, but I do absolutely want to do the show, in person in the future.
Perfect.
So yeah, I plan on doing that.
Well, we look forward to having you, and thank you so much. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it too.
The lifeblood of the show, the students. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to bring on Rebecca now, or Rebecca, you can unmute and start your video. And you guys, let's see, Chris, you want to turn your video off?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, how are you, Rebecca? Let's see, are you, yeah. So this is exciting. Rebecca and I went over some questions prior, and I understand you live in Media, Pennsylvania now, where I'm very familiar with that area, but that was not where you grew up. So you grew up in the country of Turkey and the Balkans, and your family moved in 2016 to Media. So, that's exciting, and it must have been a big transition for you. And so then where do you go to school now?
At the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts.
Yes. And that's another thing we have in common is that's where I went to school too, but I went for continuing ed. So it was, I was not a full-time student as you are. And I see that you're graduating in spring of 2022. So congratulations on finishing a pandemic year. And your medium right now, you're working on paper with watercolor, ink, marker, pencil, and collage, but at the academy, you were working in oils more. Was that correct? When you were actually in person in class?
Yeah, but at home, I think it's a lot easier to work with watercolors or dry medium
Yes.
paper.
Yes. So a lot of classes did not go back in person at the academy. So that's the difference between a couple of the different art schools in the area. And it is, if you're working in a small space or, you know, like a bedroom, you can't really be doing, you know, oils or anything with, you know, stinky solvents at home. So it's good to change it up and better for the environment. So I've looked at some of your paintings on your website and the ones that were on our online gallery, and they're so beautiful. They're filled with light and color, and they just kind of glow. They're very luminous and very, very realist too. And you kind of like a still life media or a still life subject. Is that what you like to
Yeah.
do? Yes. So the another part of your work that I really loved was that you incorporate text and poetry and your own writing into some of your artwork, right?
Yeah.
And I like that you said that you rarely do it in a linear fashion. It goes, you know, in like a spiral. And if everyone watching has a chance to look up some of Rebecca's work, the way she incorporates the writing. And that's another thing we have in common, Rebecca, is I put, it's not my own poetry or my own songs, but I write those things in the back of some of my paintings too. So that's great. And that's something, you know, unique and personal to you too. And it must mean a lot. So the text that you use and your writings, there's themes in there though. So you have themes of feminism, immigration, religion, and disability. And I think that that's all really important messages, whether or not they're secret messages that you have within your work or messages for other people to view. I think it's all really important. Now, do you have a website?
Yeah, my website is RebeccaGilesArt.com.
Okay. And then do you have an Instagram account or anything where people can look at your work?
Yeah, but I rarely post anything.
You rarely do it? Okay. You have a very nice website though. So it's Rebecca Giles art.com and folks, yeah. So is there do you have a piece behind you that you'd like to bring forward that you know you're proud of and want to show everybody?
I have this one behind me, and I have a self-portrait over here. I did this one during an online class.
Okay.
I didn't want to paint the model on Zoom.
Yes.
So here's a self-portrait that I painted looking in a medicine cabinet mirror in my bathroom.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I have this little painting here too.
Well, that's a sample of the way you get that beautiful light and luminosity in your painting. So is that an oil painting?
No, it's mixed media.
Okay.
Watercolor and charcoal and pastel.
Wow, that truly is mixed media. Wonderful.
the text around the orange and lemon says,
Oh, now I can see.
"They
Yes.
planted a berry, yes, they did not know we were the seeds. We will fly up. Reading is the way to become untrapped." Rebecca Giles.
Yes. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, thank you for sharing. So did you enjoy being part of our virtual show?
Yes, it was a lot easier than
It is. It was, instead of delivering, setting up, it was nice to just submit your images and they magically appeared on our online gallery. So,
no setting up a
um,
tent.
yeah. Well, Rebecca, thanks so much for joining us today. And if you stay on at the end, we'll get a big group picture of everybody. So the next person we're going to bring on is Mad. So why don't, Rebecca, if you could turn everything off, and Mad will bring you on, and I'm gonna turn my video off. And Chris, you want to pop in? There you
I'm
are.
in. I
I'm
am
here.
in.
Hi,
Hi,
can you hear
Madison.
me?
I can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Hi, we are with Madison Griner. Madison, it is a pleasure to speak with you today. So you, I understand, are a PAFA graduate.
I am, yes. I graduated from PAFA with my BFA in 2019. I did their combined program with University of Penn. And then I was lucky enough to win an extra year to come back, and I got to receive my painting certificate in 2020.
So you got to graduate twice.
Yes.
Awesome. That is terrific. And then I saw your other interview, and I believe that you then kind of did a little tramping through Europe as well.
I did, yes. I was very fortunate. So I won the Raymond D. and Estelle Rubin Scholarship at PAFA. So PAFA graduates in their ASC year can compete for it. And it's $5,000 to travel Europe to go see artwork, and then a returning full scholarship to come back for a studio year. So I was very fortunate. It was really fantastic. I saw a lot of artwork, and I just felt.
And you did some hostel living, I'm assuming?
I did, yes. I thought, I don't know when I'll get to travel again. I will live as cheap as possible and see as much as I can. So I slept at many hostels and got to know a lot of different characters, and it was well worth it. It was a lot of fun.
So were there any surprising favorite cities that you didn't expect?
I think that I loved Berlin more than I thought I would. I don't know that I knew what to expect when I went there, but there were a lot of interesting museums there. I think it was kind of a different. So I liked Berlin, although I was there pretty briefly. And I really, really loved Amsterdam. I loved the museums there. I really, like all painters, I love the Dutch masters. So
I think we lost Maddie for a second.
Little frozen.
Yep. So
Yeah.
until we get her back, I will just talk. And
Sure.
I agree. You can never go wrong in Amsterdam.
I
It is a
know.
beautiful city. And the Dutch masters were tremendous painters.
Are you
And-
back? Yep, we need your audio on, Maddie.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Ah, there we are. Okay.
Okay, I'm back. Terrible studio internet. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. So the last we had was Amsterdam and getting to see the Dutch masters in person, which
Yes.
Karen and I both
Yeah.
said that was a great town. Yeah, listen, that opportunity, it's a great opportunity to get to travel like that and to see some of these cities that have been around for over 1,000 years and have this crazy art history, architectural history, and political history, and you feel it as you walk through these cities, which is
Definitely.
awesome. So you're back, and
back.
you had a year to paint, pretty much just
Yeah.
a painting year during the pandemic. Did you see your work? Did you see your work change a lot over the year?
Yeah, I would say that I did, especially kind of leaving PAFA in that first big wave of the virus. It was interesting transitioning from having a community at PAFA where, you know, everyone leaves their doors open and you're always commenting on your neighbor's work and, you know, providing feedback, to moving home and making work in my parents' house and saving money and trying to ride out this crazy thing that we're all going through. So I would say that it was really wild. I started making a lot of work based off of movies that I was watching. I've been doing a ton of landscapes. I was doing a ton of landscapes, mostly based off of old films that I was watching. I wasn't even really outside that much. So it was an interesting time for sure, but I still felt lucky that, you know, I had the space to create work, and I still, you know, had the desire to be painting and stuff. I didn't put it away or anything. So
Did you notice, and this is
lucky to be painting throughout it.
yeah, did you notice that in going back home, you've lost this community and you've lost kind of having somebody to bounce ideas off, because it's hard to do that with family? Did you notice that being an issue? Like, you can't ask parents, what do you think? Because they're going to love everything you do. So getting real, kind of a real critique on work can be harder when you get right out of school and you've lost a lot of that community. Did you notice that? Nope. Kerry, I think we lost. Oh,
No,
can you
she's
hear me?
there.
Oh my goodness.
She's there. Yeah.
Maddie,
So
did you hear my question?
So you were asking me, I caught the beginning of it, what it was
Okay.
like to leave the community at
Yeah,
PAFA.
so when you go back home, you're with your parents, and you've lost having a
Mhm.
community to bounce ideas off and kind of critique each other's work, because you can't do that with family. They're going to love everything you do. Was that a hard? You know, that's a weird adjustment where now you're not sure exactly. You know, maybe you're not going the right direction, or you are. It's harder to interact with other artists, especially during the pandemic. Did you find that to be a little bit of an issue?
Yeah, I would say that it was definitely a change. My dog Cole, he made his way into a couple of my paintings. I would say that some of my content shifted, and I did have to start trying to, you know, text friends my paintings or ask for like really specific feedback, as opposed to just inviting a friend into studio and like asking for a general response. So I think I had to be like more diligent in what I was hoping to receive out of, you know, in a way that was different than from when I was a student, and, you know, people were.
Now, do you so we're coming out of pandemic, where can people see your work? Website or any galleries coming up or anything like that?
Yes, definitely on Instagram. I've been posting more and more on Instagram. So if you follow me there, you can see my paintings pretty regularly. My Instagram is Madison Makala, which is my middle name. It's just Madison and then Makala. It should come up. And then I also have my website linked on my Instagram bio. So it's just easiest to get to it that way, I would say.
And what do you see yourself doing going forward? Do you want to go gallery route? Do you want to freelance? What kind of idea do you have how you want to show your work?
Yeah, I would say that I would love to go the gallery route eventually. Right now, I'm just focusing on building a strong body of work. I have a studio out here in Manayunk in Philadelphia, and I've been really liking just having there and to just really focus on the content. But I'm excited to apply to shows coming up and to hopefully be participating in things that, you know, might be in person. With my fingers crossed, could be in person. But
and you're ready now as a graduate to make the jump to the professional artist application for Rittenhouse. Is that an exciting thought?
in person, the outer ring at Rittenhouse. Yes, I am excited to apply. I definitely hope to continue doing Rittenhouse. I was lucky enough to do it once in person, so I got the full original experience, and then this is my second time, and it's the online show. So I'm hoping to do it in person in the upcoming year or two for sure.
And definitely, because I'll tell you, and Kerry will tell you the same. We both do shows all over the place, and we're so fortunate. It's in our backyard, and it's really an awesome show. And
Yes, it's
we
great.
really appreciate you. And
Can we see any artwork, Madison?
yeah. Do you have anything that we can look at real quick?
So I'm still doing the landscapes. I don't know if you can see the landscape back here. And I have my painting that was on the Rittenhouse website of the little girl.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been doing these paintings kind of inspired by these old Polaroids that I found. So it's an ongoing it's an ongoing series. This is another one that's in progress, but it just looks like blue lines right now. Very in progress.
Okay.
But yeah, so
Thanks.
if you follow me, you'll see more of these. Yeah.
Madison, thank you so much. And we appreciate you being a part of the show and look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry about all the internet buffering.
That's all right. We're going to bring Quinn on now. And Matt, if you can turn, yeah, there we go. And I'm going to turn my video back on. Hi, how are you?
Hi, hello, I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, everyone. This is Quinn Evans. So we are winding down our time frame for our 5 o'clock club, but we still have plenty of time to get all caught up with Quinn. So why don't you tell us where you grew up, where you graduated from art school, and I believe you went to 2 different colleges. So give everybody the lowdown on that.
Yeah, so I was born in Lancaster, PA, and then I grew up in Wrightsville, so it's right across the river. It's like 2 hours away from Philly. And yeah, so I originally went to Susquehanna University. I decided to go the liberal arts college route instead of the art school route because in high school, I really loved writing and I had the kind of like the journalism direction in mind, but I always loved art and always kind of figured I would go back to it. So I figured I could study art and pursue my other interests at a liberal arts college. But yeah, so I was at Susquehanna for 3 years and then I transferred to Franklin and Marshall in Lancaster 2 years ago now. So I would say like 75% of that time was online because of the pandemic.
I know.
We made it work.
Yeah. Well, what was that like? Were you ever back in person, or you had to finish out the year just like totally online?
Yeah, so I started out in person and it was a great time. I loved all my teachers. I met a lot of great people. And then I was living in Lancaster at that point in a house close to campus. And then, COVID happened and rent in the city didn't really seem worth it. So I decided to move back home in Wrightsville temporarily. And it's been really nice, honestly, being at home for this time. And I feel really privileged because I've been able to have space to actually produce artwork. And I chose to study remotely for the rest of my, my whole senior year and, half of the junior year. Because there was an option to go back on campus, but
I see.
Yeah, there were so many cautions or precautions being taken. It kind of didn't really seem worth it because I wouldn't really have had access to like studio space or anything. So I just figured I would stay here and work in the studio space that I had, and it worked. It was good.
So tell us about your particularly your senior show. It was a really interesting theme and a really interesting mixed media approach that you did.
Yeah, so my senior capstone was titled Insight, How the Digital World Occupies Space. And so normally I just do oil on panel. That's kind of been my go-to painting method for a few years now, but I wanted to explore a little bit more with multimedia, I guess. And so because we were in isolation and everything, I wanted to reach out to a few of my photographer friends. And so I asked them all to take self-portrait like photographs in their rooms or like their safe spaces, you know, during quarantine, during isolation.
Okay.
And so I received all these photographs of self-portraits, and then I used that as my inspiration for these pieces. And I also asked everyone that I was collaborating with to reflect on how digital media, like news headlines, social media, all, you know, with all the craziness that's been going on the last 2 years, you know, and kind of reflect on how digital media has impacted you, especially during the last year in isolation. I kind of wanted to tackle or explore how, like, you know, news, social media, and whatnot kind of encroaches into our safe spaces, even when we're alone and whatnot. And so I actually printed, so each model sent me a whole file of, or a whole folder full of files of screenshots of like various digital content. And I made that into a collage that I included in the walls of the photographs. It's a really difficult process to explain. It's easier to honestly just show. This is
Oh, yeah.
one of the paintings that I included. So it's like the digital content is on the wall of the space, and then she kind of sits in the space, so it kind of alludes.
And you did the painting on top of that,
Yes,
right?
yes. So all
Yeah.
of this is all painted oil.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I did a little bit of a wash on the collage
Yeah.
background.
Oh,
but
so interesting. And it was a successful show, right?
yeah, it was. Three of my 6 pieces were actually purchased by the college, which was an honor.
Yeah, that is an honor. It's,
Yeah.
so let's see, let's talk about how we can find you, gallery, social media, website.
Yeah, of course. So you can just find me at Quinn Evans Art on Instagram, and then my website is just quinnevansart.com.
Oh, okay. And are you on Instagram?
Yeah, it's Quinn Evans Art.
Quinn Evans. Okay. Okay. Yeah, before I realized Instagram, I kind of named myself backwards, but I think it's fine. I'm, you know, last name first, it kind of helps. So did you enjoy being part of our virtual show?
I did. Yeah, for sure. I definitely, I don't know if I would have been able to be a part of it if it hadn't been virtual, because after graduate, it was like so close to my graduation, and everything it was a big whirlwind. I had like other deadlines coming up. So
Right.
it was nice. I was able to just submit 2 pieces, and it's been a great experience. And yeah.
Do you have any other things on the horizon, like gallery shows or anything like that?
Yeah, so right now I've just been working on some commissions that I've pushed to after graduation. So I have
Sure.
a bit of paintings that I have to work on right now.
Yeah.
But I just submitted for a grant, and I'm keeping my options open right now. I'm looking just to apply or to submit work in various shows and kind of see what opportunities pop up.
Sure. Well, hopefully, you know, having a Rittenhouse Square Fine Arts Show as part of your resume now, that goes for all of you. I think that's really great, and we were honored to have you and happy that this would happen. So I'm going to try to bring everybody back on now. If you can all unmute and turn your videos back on. I'm going to try to take a screenshot here. Hide comments. Let's see. How many do we have? I have everybody. There we go. Okay, let me take one. All right, everyone, when on the count of 3, you're going to wave. So 1, I got to get my face smiling. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to take another one. 1, 2, 3, wave. Okay. So everyone, I really can't thank you enough for joining us, for doing our virtual show. Folks, next week, I'll actually be the 5 o'clock club doing a demo on painting reflections in water. I love to do my Pennsylvania waterways, so we're gonna do a 5 o'clock club next week. We have Chris doing a carving demo the 24th.
Yeah, I'm gonna do stone. Since I did wood last time.
Oh, you're doing stone.
I
Wow.
will do a marble carving demo this time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then we'll interview folks at Cerulean Arts Gallery for July 1st. And then we're going to take a wonderful break for the rest of July.
Well-deserved break.
Well-deserved break. So I'm going to try to go back to Facebook now so I can properly end.
And thank you, everybody. We really loved having you as part of the show and doing these interviews. It's really exciting for us to have that contact with students. That's so important for the show. So
Right. So in case I end the entire meeting too soon, I'm going to try to just end our live Facebook. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and take care. Bye. It's still saying end meeting for all. Okay, bye.